Right, so we have everybody on board from Roundtable 1. Pramod sir, since we have 12 speakers from around the world, I have checked my list 3 times to make sure that we have the first roundtable here. Everybody is present. So great. So shall we begin? Everyone ready?
Yep.
Fantastic. Great, great. So very warm welcome to all of our esteemed dignitaries from around the world. It makes me so happy to see all these amazing faces here, and proud and privileged to host such a beautiful panel of speakers today. Welcome to the roundtable discussion. I wholeheartedly welcome Dr. Rajat Sharma, Her Royal Highness Queen Aminata Koita, Dr. Amina Ali, Dr. Saurabh Jain, Dr. Purnima Voria, Dr. Preeti Bajaj, Dr. Pramod Kumar Rajput, Ms. Leena Nair, Ms. Shafaq Ibrahim, Mr. Sanjeev Verma, Ms. Sonia Hussain, and Ms. Anar Mehta. Our moderators for the day are Mrs. Gayatri Chadwa, Ms. Priya Sitaraman, and Ms. Tamanna Rajpal. These are from our GMHA team India. Gender inclusion and diversity is a concept that transcends mere equality. It's a notion that all services, opportunities, and establishments are open to all people, and that male and female stereotypes do not define societal roles and expectations. A report by McKinsey Global Institute found that advancing women's equality can add $12 trillion to global economic growth by 2025. Aside from closing gender gap, diversity is also crucial in many ways, broadening our perspective and discovering new ways of thinking and working together, as well as enhancing our abilities to solve problems with a tapestry of insights. To foresee a world where gender diversity and inclusion is the general norm, we all need to work together to achieve that. There is an old proverb that states, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So with that note, together we begin this beautiful conversation, and let's have all the good insights from all the fantastic speakers from around the world. Gayatri Chadwa, I hand you over the discussion to take it forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mansi. I am so excited to, listen to all the views with so many dignitaries from around the globe here. And with that, I would first like to invite our first speaker of the day, Ms. Anar Mehta. Anar Mehta, she is the SDG ambassador, founder of Srishti Bharat Foundation, and also an United Nations awardee. Ma'am, I would like to ask you that you have worked extensively towards women empowerment and inclusion. And considering the fact that women are more in touch with their emotional selves, how do you think the emotional capabilities of women help them become better leaders and promote inclusion in different contexts?
Yes, thank you, Mansi, for inviting me to this one of the prestigious and wonderful event. Thank you, Gayatri, for your question. I'll just begin now. Greetings to all present here today. It gives me a great pleasure to be a part of this event. At the outset, let me wish all of you and your family members are safe and completely healthy. Being amongst a company of such talented people inspire me to take even more efforts towards women empowerment, gender inclusion, and diversity. When women bring this attitude to managerial roles, it may actually make them stronger, more effective leaders. Women may not always realize how poised for success they are in leadership role, but their potential and abilities are undeniable. Few reasons I want to mention which makes women a great leaders are they value work life, they balance life, they are empathetic, they make great listeners, they are nurturing, they focus on teamwork, they are also good at multitasking, they are motivated by challenges, they are strong communicators, they dream big, they handle crises and situation very well. They have high emotional intelligence. They are flexible. Women are pragmatic, resilient, and usually able to maneuver tricky situations with grace. Their perspectives are out of a mix of trial by fire and sheer fortitude. They make their job look effortless. They defy the odds. Women make great leaders because the odds are against us. To lead when you are underdog, it takes an extra push to get to the top. That's why I think women who emerge on top are strong and capable extraordinarily. Emotional intelligence could be a woman's leader's secret weapon if it was recognized as such. The problem is that it is not necessarily a skill that gets lots of attention like loud and aggressive behavior. It is a soft skill that often goes unnoticed. Yet, in today's competitive environment, leaders need to provide collaborative traits that are linked to emotional intelligence. For instance, the capacity to be empathetic is a prerequisite to enhance a leader's relation with employees and for effective communication. To shed some light on how gender inclusiveness can help organizations thrive are the advantages that women leaders can bring to the table. The competitive age of soft skills, the Dolly Patron, the famous celebrity, once said, if your actions create a legacy that inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. People who differ from one another in gender, ethnicity, or other identities bring a diversity of perspectives to an organization, which enhances creativity and encourages the search for novel information. This in turn leads to a better decision making and ultimately a greater success. Women's emotional caring, therefore, they are so emotional caring, for good communication skills, negotiation skills, networking skills, conflict management. All these emotional aspects can be made stronger by imparting emotional intelligence skills with social intelligence, which are all the leadership qualities which lead to inclusion in different contexts. According to the inclusive and diverse feminist leadership is a key to sustainable global development as the world continues to confront urgent challenges from COVID-19 pandemic to climate change. I would like to mention the 6 C's of inclusive leadership that states women as a better leader and promote inclusion in different contexts. The number 1 is commitment. Highly inclusive leaders are committed to the diversity and inclusion because these objectives align with their personal values. Number 2 is courage. Highly inclusive leaders speak up and challenge the status quo and are willing to have a difficult conversations. Number 3 is cognizance of bias. Its highly inclusive leaders are mindful of personal and organizational blind spots and self-regulate to ensure fair play. Number 4 is curiosity. Highly inclusive leaders have an open mindset and a desire to understand how others view and experience the world. Number 5 is cultural intelligence. Highly inclusive leaders are confident and effective in cross-cultural interaction. And the last one is collaborations. Highly inclusive, collaborative leaders empower individuals as well as create and leverage the thinking of diverse groups. So I think that communication, networking, negotiation, cultural capabilities, intelligence helps them to promote their vision. Gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and a sustainable world. Sustainable Development Goal number 5 aims to eliminate all forms of discrimination and violence against women in the public and private spheres, and to undertake reforms to give women equal rights to economic sources and access to ownership of property. Gender diversity increases among key decision makers by the C-suite and the corporate boards. The number incidence of engagement of corporate social responsibility increases, as you call the CSR, as does the quality of each engagement and amount of financial resources devoted to these initiatives. Gender diverse board are beneficial to our businesses. To end up, well, as society as a whole, they are better equipped to ensure corporate citizenship standards are not only met but exceeded, building stronger, more sustainable companies are benefited. Numerous sources make it clear that having women on board is materially better for all the companies. Just as the world will grow faster and more sustainably powered by the renewables, your business growth potential will increase with greater diversity in decision making. Human resources, which is HR diversity and inclusion policies, training skills, building gender audits, gender action plans, strengthening internal justice systems, and governance reforms can start, which will create an inclusive and a safe place for women. So according to me, as you say, Gayatri, all the equal rights are very important, and women in leadership roles can better relate to it in all the contexts, in all the sectors, in fact. Thank you and namaskar.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You rightly said that, women have so many different, I would say capabilities with them. They are all over. And thank you so much for that insight as to how women can lead. Thank you so much for that insight. My next speaker, I would like to invite Ms. Shafaq Ibrahim. She is an MBPS's mind coach, psychologist at the Shafaq Effect. Ms. Shafaq, as a mental health specialist, you have extensive experience as an interpreter and translator for mental health patients. And you have worked with diversified set of people. So with that context, what are your observations regarding the cultural hindrances that people face due to the stigma attached to it? And how can we change the mindset to build more diverse societies?
That's lovely. Thank you very much, Gayatri. I also wanted to thank Nancy as well for inviting me for such an interesting panel, actually. And Mr. Narmeta has just presented such a lovely speech. I haven't prepared a speech as such because I like to just work as I'm talking. It just works better for myself and for my audience as well. I've created the Shafaq Effect, as you've lovely introduced that, just to think, be mindful about all these topics we're talking about as well. It just includes everything. It includes gender equality, it includes kindness, includes confidence, includes empowerment, it includes progression, includes emotional intelligence. Well, I have become quite expert in this as well. Because I believe what I have encountered in my last 10 years of working in the mental health sector, starting as an interpreter and translator, and then went into a mediation role as such between consultant and client often. I speak various languages, and due to various languages, I haven't just picked up on the culture or the language itself. I've also picked up on various behavioral differences. Why certain people in certain attitudes, with certain attributes, or with certain conditions itself, mental health conditions, would act very differently if they come from so different backgrounds, especially when it goes about gender differences as well. And often people cannot understand who haven't actually been introduced to other cultures as such. Why is this person behaving abnormal? No, that person is not behaving abnormal. It's just that person is just behaving according to their culture. And that might not have been linked to any kind of mental health condition or any abnormal behavior, because it's part of their culture, it's part of their understanding. So all these kind of things were happening, and especially when I've noticed today we're talking about gender equality, about women as such coming to the forefront. As you can see, if anyone has followed my posts, I talk very openly about my life, because what I've noticed is also my family comes from an Indian Pakistani background. I'm a mixture of 3 explosive countries. It's Kashmir, India, and Pakistan. Some ancestry from Iran as well. So very, 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 very explosive kind of mixture. And I'm quite proud of that, because there's so much rich history involved in these things. But although my family does tell me, don't talk about your past, you know, your children will suffer, you will face shame, you will face all sorts of different negative experiences. But then I thought, no, I need to embrace my experiences. I need to embrace them. These are part of my life. Wherever traumatic experiences, wherever negative experiences, positive experiences, why not talk about that? Because these are normal things. Everybody has to go through their life experiences. And if we start making secret about these things, that's when the stigma comes about. And that's what I've noticed with my clients as well, that because this shame is involved, or what would the other person think, or my family would abandon me, or my husband would abandon me, I don't know how to think about that, especially in the Asian culture, as you would know, which you would be aware of, that mental health is kind of a very, very strong stigma. It's been shamed all over the place. And the reason why it's been done this is because most people, even here in the Western culture, is very similar, but people do not have the education, the understanding of what mental health means. Mental health is something which is can affect anybody. You know, we live with our mental health. As soon as something is imbalanced, and that could be even simple things like stress or challenge, suddenly we start feeling warm inside us, the blood goes on, and we become angry. Why do we become angry? Why we become stressed? Why we become frustrated? All these things have to do with our mental health. So these are not abnormal things, these are normal things. Mental health conditions is something which is then longer lasting. That means it takes over your normal life, and you cannot function as such normal, but that doesn't mean that it's abnormal neither. You know, you don't have to act any different as such. It's just that your daily life is maybe a bit imbalanced, and you need to regulate that back to a normal level where you can function fully again, where you can go with your daily tasks. And that is what I've noticed with my clients as well, and in my past translation work and interpreting work, especially people coming from our kind of background, are very reluctant, very hesitant about talking about their mental health, because first of all, they do not understand what's going on about them. You know, it could be often it's stress related, depression related, these kind of things. I've come across even ladies who I've accomplished in rehabilitation centers who suffered a stroke because their in-laws were not caring for them. They didn't understand what was going on, and they had too much pressure on their head, and one day they just fall apart. And in order to bring these people back, I try to normalize these things, and to normalize these things, make them feel comfortable. You know, I come into a room and try to make them feel comfortable within themselves and be okay to be able to talk about certain things. I can hear some background noises. Sorry, someone's microphone is on. If you could mute it, please. So, and to normalize these things is very, very important. And in order to do that, I believe personally, which is why I came out also with the Shafak effect, and I came out in talking publicly about my experiences, because people want to relate to public figures. They want to hear from public figures that it's okay to talk about that. It's not something of shame. If we want to portray a message to someone else, to our audience, we have to lead by example. We have to actually portray ourselves in a way that, you see, I come from all this trauma, I've suffered this, I've suffered that, but I've embraced these experiences in then helping someone else. And it's okay to have them. I haven't fallen apart. Yes, I do go through some bad days, but it's okay to go through bad days. You know, embracing it, accepting these things is so important. But we as public figures have the responsibility greatly to the wider audience who may not have the confidence as such, or who may not have the knowledge as such, who may not have the esteem as such, self-esteem in general, to come out and be okay with themselves. And as long as we start portraying these things, and more of us, whether it's men, women, whoever it is, it's not even just inclusive female gender, the easier it will get for the society to accept these things. Because I believe mental health should be exactly dealt with like physical health. You know, if we have a heart condition, we don't necessarily go to an orthopedic specialist and ask them to treat our heart. We would go to a heart surgeon, or we would go to the GP and ask them to refer to first to the heart specialist. So, or the GP itself wouldn't treat our broken leg with, you know, just a flu medicine and would send us home. It would be treated accordingly. And I think mental health should be exactly treated like that accordingly. Mental health is a very important subject matter, and we can see that now in the pandemic as well. People are feeling isolated. They can't come out, they can't see their families, they can't touch anyone. Social distancing is so normal as such. It's not in our human being. That's not how we've been born. We're social beings of wanting to touch, to feel, to speak, to see. And as soon these things are being taken away from us, these basic needs, we start suffering. And that's every one of us. Wherever you have a big dignity there, you have a person on the road, everyone is affected by this. So by normalizing these things, and that's where I'm coming back to my clients again, we would encourage these people not to be hesitant about that and be comfortable. And the people around them would be more acceptance because they would have more education about that. They don't need to fear the fear of shame. They don't need to fear the fear of what would happen, or somebody would exclude us, or we cannot be reintegrated into society. So that's what I wanted to say. I hope it answered your question.
Yes, definitely. I mean, also, I would just say that as somebody who has fought with depression, I can totally relate that it needs to be normalized, because one of the biggest fear is of the fear of judgment amongst people. And so I think, as you rightly said, we need to normalize mental health just as we normalize a heart issue or a orthopedic issue or any other physical issue. Thank you so much for that wonderful insight. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
With that, I would like to invite our next speaker, Mr. Sanjeev Verma. Mr. Sanjeev Verma, he is the Chairman, Environment, Health and Safety Forum, BDMA, which is affiliated to AIMA Gujarat. And sir, welcome to this forum. You are such a leading personality and an inspiration to all of us. What are your thoughts on combating gender inequalities in our country, especially? How can we adapt progressive views to further our growth as an inclusive nation?
So thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me on this great panel and this thing. So I would like to thank Her Highness Queen Aminali is there with us, I think, and Mansi Dholakia ji, Sri Dr. P.K. Rajput ji, Anar Mehta ji, who already had solved lots of problems of mine today, Dr. Rajat Sarma ji, and Dr. Purnima, Preeti Bajaj ji is here. I am seeing her, and Leena Nair. Lots of great personalities I am seeing and feeling in front of me here, and I can feel your all of your vibes. Particularly, I'm really very thankful to participate and be a member of this roundtable conference and be a panelist on this thing. And I would like to specifically thank Anar Mehtaji for setting the context. In fact, she mentioned each and every aspects and the characteristics, traits which a women have. So in a very detail. So lots of things I would just refer to her conversation and her address and just say that it's already proved that it is a proved fact that a lady and a woman already have all kind of this thing. Only thing I find a gap in our thought only. This is nothing kind of a fear or just a lack or lacuna in our thought only. This is the only I can guess. If you will just refer to our past, when our great philosophers, our ancestors, they promoted, they launched the concept of developing this earth, you can see at even at that time they conceptualized the concept of Adam and Eve. If you refer to that, so it was 50%. And nowadays, we are targeting in corporates that we should increase it to 5%, then 10%. Why it is so? We are always talking about, and we call our professional life as our extended family. Our own family, we expend whole of our life, our time, our precious time, lovely time with our family. And in a conversation, we used to call our professional life or office life or a workplace as extended family. If there is a word called family, so why there is a difference in opinion also? Can we think a family at our own, at our house, without a lady, without a girl? We are very much needing. No, it is very, it is houseless kind of thing, peaceless kind of thing. If mom is not here, if mama is not there, it's nothing. ये तो घर ही नहीं है. It is nothing like this thing. We need sister also because she is very caring. She will care in case of this thing. We need we need sister also. We need mother also, and various forms we need at this thing. And we realize with our heart that yes, they are the real part of our life, and we cannot think our life, our happiness, our success without them at home. Why this becomes very different when we talk about the workplace? Many times while discussing or while giving my address on this topic, I many times I used to mention that that is a very used old age saying. One Rahim Kavi, he mentioned that रहीमन देखन बरेन को लघु न दीजे डारी, रहीमन देखन बरेन को लघु न दीजे डारी, जहां काम आवे सुई कहां करे तलवारी. Means I would just like to translate here that they imagine that you try to respect each and everything. Don't see a thing, it is great, so we should follow the great only. It's a big, so we should follow big only. Let us forget the small things. Let us try to understand their role. They are equally important. He compared the sword and the needle. So sword is of course very important. It's a stand. It's a symbol of this greatness. Usually the king holds in his hand, but where there is a need to do some work with the help of needle, sword will not work. So we should try to tune up our mind only. The problem is our mind, our thought. If we are really clear in our thought, we really prove that we really accept, internalize by our heart that the gender diversity should not be the case anywhere. So these days, I am seeing a great change even in corporates. And they are saying that, no, we need female employees. Why? Because if we employ a lady is a female employee, we can just see a very positive change in whole of the department. All the persons, they become a very second day, they become very cultured sort of thing. Their style of sitting, the style of talking, postures, each and everything gets settled, very sort of thing. So even nowadays I am provoking, and the corporates are taking this as this type of positive change also. Let us introduce some ladies who are very deep, having very deep thought in arranging the things at a very this thing, like Anar Mehta ji already told. She is a very, very, and I can say a masterpiece things I have personally seen in a conflict management, in a negotiations. Lot of complicated problems we are facing in corporates, and we found that whenever the problem was handed over to some ladies employee or officers or managers, very, very easily they solve all the problems, and very happy smile face with all these things. And you are wondering how it has happened, because the other person, they were having lots of 30 years of experience, were not able to do certain thing, because certain kind of emotions all the time we discuss. The now rush 9 type of emotions. In fact, while conceiving a child, while nurturing a child, while growing a child, while developing a child, while getting married, acting as wife, acting as a daughter, acting as a sister, acting as a different managerial activities also, she need to execute all the 9 emotions, which is very much required for any successful leader. During this course, a lady has immense power to deal any kind of situation. She know how to utilize her emotions, utilize her thoughts, how to exhibit love, how to exhibit empathy, how to exhibit emotions, how to connect the persons, how to make a person culture also, how to make a person educative also, how to teach a person. So I firmly, from the heart of I firmly believe that women have immense power. Only we need to have a firm trust on them. You can expect blindly out of her, and she will prove. And I just want to bring your kind attention towards the Lamarck theory, where the principle of use and disuse was there. If you use anything more, it will develop. If you disuse or not use, it will go extinct, towards extinction. So why we are wasting such immense power? So we have immense power with us. Let us respect like a Devi, like a very auspicious thing which is happening, which are there with us. And we can expect blindly, and they will prove. So a lot to say, but I will stop here with a firm belief that we must need to tune our mind, have a belief on all the women, have a great respect for all the women. If you include, you can see the wonders. Even women prove that they can be a wrestler. Even you can see the women who are doing exercise, their muscles are more powerful than a man who is just having a sort of teddy bear sort of culture or this thing. So it is nothing but your belief only. If you believe and you go to wind up your muscle, you will see wonder. So I would just say here that if you include, inclusion is very important with a certain case of mind, and wonders are waiting for us. So thank you very much, Mansi ji, and all our team members here. So formally, thank you very much for calling me and giving my views here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev sir. Yes, you said it rightly that we need to be more inclusive about every gender in the society. Everybody is equally important and equally capable of achieving what the other one does. Thank you so much for that insight, sir. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
With
you.
this, I would like to hand
Thank you
it
so
over
much.
to you, Priya, to take this up forward.
Thank you, Gayatri. Um, yeah, moving on to invite Miss Leena Nair. She is the founder WCDAG. That's We Can Do Anything Good. That's the full form. She is the head India Operations and Strategy at ZocDoc. Miss Leena Nair. Hi, how are
Hi,
you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you so much. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you. Good. Yeah. Thank you so much. We welcome you to this round one of the panel discussion. Here's a question to you, Ms. Leena Nair. Being the head of a healthcare forum in the IT industry, what, according to you, are some of the changes that need to be brought about with immediate effect in the organization within the corporate sector to encourage inclusivity or the inclusive participation of the employees?
Thank you so much for the question, Priya. And thank you, Mansi, Priya, and Gayatri for including me on this panel. I think it's a great privilege. I feel very lucky to be able to speak here. And thank you to everyone in advance for making the time to listen to what I have to say. Really appreciate it. Um, Obviously, I have a perspective that comes from a very millennial point of view. And WIGDAG is a gender empowerment, group, and ZocDoc is also a very diverse and inclusive company. I've worked there, and I have a lot of impact on the policies there. But I'm also lucky to have the C-suite in the US that is extremely pro diversity and inclusion. So I have learned a lot in the last 10 years about what it means to be a diverse and inclusive corporate, setup. For one of the things that I understood at ZocDoc and otherwise also outside of ZocDoc in the books I have read, like female, if somebody is a little more evolved, they'll talk about intersex. But truly speaking, gender, it lies on a spectrum. And uh, secondly, I also believe that it keeps evolving, right? How you see yourself, what your experiences are, who you believe you are, can evolve based on life, how life goes. And that's growth, and that's a great thing. India is a very wonderful society. We have a great mix of traditions and conventions and obviously modern ideas. The challenge that we face is that, we are taking everything together and at a very high pace because of the development and growth that we see as a country. So we have people who are at various mindsets, various levels of thinking across our country. Now, as a leader who hires in India, one of the challenges that we face is obviously hiring the best talent in the most effective way as quickly as possible. Now, if I was going to be selective about whether I'm going to hire a Indian or a Hindu or a man or I don't know, like put identity to the talent that I'm hiring, then I'm never going to meet the goals. And that's what I love about the fact that we are a country that is developing so quickly, that in some ways money does bring people together. And it's not something that we talk about much, but it does. And I feel that when you're thinking about making money, you look at talent. You don't look at like what people's identities beyond their talent are as much. When it comes to creating an inclusive workspace and hiring talent, my philosophy has been that get the best people in and create a workplace that is amazing, for belonging and inclusivity, and encourage people to bring their best selves to work. Now, I have worked in companies where, based on your caste, your religion, your gender, people are rejected. I have been asked to reject women in interviews because, she's of a childbearing age, if you hire her now, you're going to get into trouble unnecessarily, you'll have attrition soon, or all of that. But I would say that was level one in some ways, or sexual harassment was level one. We as a country have tackled those level one issues to some extent. There is a lot of strong policy, HR policy around sexual harassment. There is good policy around maternity benefits are getting stronger. I feel like with especially the IT sector, there's work from home, and like fundamentals are in many ways being taken care of. Women are in getting like promotions, or even at base level salaries in corporate sectors are pretty similar. Like it's transparent. If like you're hiring somebody at a base level, if the package is 25,000, everybody gets 25,000. There is no discrimination that a woman is going to get paid a certain way, or a man is going to get paid a certain way. So at level one, I think that we have really achieved a lot from a workplace gender empowerment perspective. And as we've seen in COVID and other times, today society has gotten to a place where both men and women have to work. If they want to meet their family needs, they have to meet their children's needs. So as a society also, I think people have started seeing that, okay, women need to work. This is necessary, not just something that they're doing as a luxury or as a privilege, and they're not just allowed to do it as a hobby. So it's just changed from that point to some extent. But I think if you want to get to level 4, level 5, go international about this thing, then there is still a huge scope for us, right? The challenges, that I see in my work environment is that, like, I'll give you examples of the challenges just about women, right? I see that if I'm, for example, I hired 8 women coming back from maternity a few years ago. And I thought that, this is great. I am doing something really wonderful for gender empowerment. And then out of 8 of those, 7 quit within 3 months. One of them quit before joining. And, it was not easy, right? And the problem is beyond just whether I want to hire somebody or not, right? Workplaces want to hire somebody. It's not, you can't put like band-aid solutions to problems like these, because it's a very deep-rooted issue. It involves somebody's psychology, the environment that they're coming from, the environment you have created at your workplace. So it is much, much more than just hiring somebody. So some of the things that I would like to point out that could get us to a more, evolved level, and we are obviously still getting there, we are not anywhere close, is I think create a workplace where there's a lot of education about how to be safe yourself, and how to create safety for other people, right? Regardless of who you are. Now, I interviewed recently this year, I interviewed a cross-dresser. I also interviewed someone who had just gone through gender change surgery. And we are one of those great workplaces where there's a common bathroom. But like, if somebody who's a transgender intersex person, or someone who's gone through a gender surgery, or someone who's a cross-dresser, like depending on what they identify as, how they want to be, people don't even have common bathrooms, right? And if I am a woman, or like on the spectrum, I'm a disabled person, then my problem is even worse, because even the best companies don't have all the infrastructure required for me to be able to work there. So the awareness portion about what you need, speaking up about it, making it safe for somebody. You don't want to sit at a lunch table or dinner table at office, and you're talking about people assume everyone is themselves all the time, which is not true. You may be sitting with a trans man or a trans woman who has not come out, and you may be insulting them without even realizing it right at that table, right? And that is so offensive, right? And that is so disempowering, because you are basically making sure that they never tell you who they really are, and that is not a safe space. So I think the broadest inclusivity thing works for everyone. Just be non-judgmental, caring, tolerant, regardless of what you're hearing and what you're seeing, because you literally don't know what you don't know, right? So just be kind and be tolerant, right? And just accept that whatever they come and tell you, like if they tell you they're a unicorn tomorrow, it shouldn't matter to you. You should just be loving and kind and accepting of them, right? So literally creating a workplace that is that good, and educating people that there is something outside of this binary world that we are taught since childhood is super critical for an inclusive work environment. Secondly, I think job descriptions, they're fundamental, basic ones, right? All of the job descriptions are written in male gender. I think, obviously, if we could include it to be they, them, or more like all inclusive of gender, that would be great. When you're talking about creating diversity, I know that India has these great policies for reservation for all kinds of communities, right? But I think that the hiring pipeline needs to be diverse. You have to deliberately go out there and seek people from all communities and and genders, and just make sure that the diversity is right at the source and not just in your thoughts. There is a lot of unconscious bias, not just in people who are aggressive. I would say it's in all of us, right? I have learned so many times when I am not tolerant, when I am not inclusive, when I'm not doing a great job. So I feel like constant education and awareness, helping your team build self-awareness about this is very, very critical. I feel like India is very behind on self-awareness. We are, as a culture, we might do yoga, we might do meditation, we do all these practices, but when it comes to self-awareness, if you're a 5-year-old sitting at the lunch table and asking questions and dada dadi are around, they'll be like, kitne questions puchte ho, bas karo abhi, khana khao, right? That is what you're like, you shut up, like you don't have the space to be curious. If you are imaginative and you want to wear nail paint and you're a boy, mother's like, oh my god, my child is going to be like a girl now, I can't have him wear nail paint. So it's discouraged right then. If your boy wants to play with colors, he does not want to if he doesn't want to play with if he doesn't want to play with trucks, or if he wants to wear fairy wings and he doesn't want to do something else, we discourage it right there. So self-awareness wise, we don't let growth happen, we don't let conversations happen. Emotional conversations is a big thing. And generally we also, like, culturally don't respect women and people of marginalized societies. So we don't teach our children the right things right from the scratch. So I love India. I am sounding really nasty about this right now. Maybe that is not my intention. I am very patriotic. I would die for my country. But yes, this is the truth. I believe that we have so much more to do on that front. So create awareness and reduce bias. And I can't just do it in the workplace. It's limited. Whatever I do, it also matters what's happening outside.
You are absolutely bang on, Leena. Absolutely, very, very true, and rightly said. Just be human and be kind. That's all it takes to. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm intervening here. We're running out of time. Moving on to, thank you so much. Thank you for coming and accepting our invite. Thank you. You're doing a great work. Please continue to keep up your work.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I'm a big talker. I can just go on. So,
sorry about that. Yeah, I had to intervene. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Further, I would like to have and invite Ms. Sonia Hussain, actor and filmmaker, Bangladesh. Hello, ma'am. How are you? You're on mute, ma'am. You're on mute. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm really bad in this. I'm really sorry. Okay. So I'm doing good. I'm all right. And thank you so much, Priya, Gayatri, and Mansi. First of all, Mansi, thank you so much for inviting me to this panel. And, it's been amazing listening to all of you ladies, especially sorry, I think I've lost you guys. Have I? No. Okay.
We can hear you.
Oh, can you? Okay. So especially, Miss Nair, she just, I think, spoke my heart out, really. So I think in general, this is what we should have, right? I mean, we should not be judgmental. Like, we have this all this kind of prejudice within us all the time, and I think I could relate to whatever she was saying. And since I'm in a place I've been working for 18 years as an actor, as a model, and being in the entertainment and filmmaking for so long. I think I've seen way too much. This is this is a male dominated industry. It's not just in Bangladesh. We're still very young. It's just been 50 years. So we're still taking baby steps in Bangladesh, trying to tell our stories. But I think the situation is more or less the same everywhere, whether it's Bollywood or Hollywood or anywhere in the world. It is a male dominated society. And I think I have had my own kind of struggle. Like, I started working from the age of 2003. Okay, first of all, again, just like Shafak, I would say I don't have any notes, so I might just get a bit lost. If I go off track, just bring me back. So I'm just going to talk about this topic as you guys have arranged this gender equality and inclusivity and diversity. I'll tell you a little bit about myself first. So when in 2003, when I was back in college and I was young and I wanted to, I was always interested in entertainment and, telling stories and, performances in dances and, acting and things like that. I mean, I was always told by my family, especially my father, he never used to encourage me at all. I mean, I used to think that he's very conservative, but then down the line, I realized that he was conservative, but it was more like he was concerned. And why he was concerned is because of the place, the workplace. I think it's just in the morning I posted something about my father today. I just wrote that there's so many things that he has said before which I didn't realize, and I can realize it right now. Again, I've just lost my father 2 months back in COVID on April 2nd. I think Mansi knows that. Yeah. And, I now recall his words and I try to understand what he used to always tell me, that the reason why he didn't want me to be in entertainment or, into this world where he never thought it was safe for me. And, I always fought with him. I always fought with my family, and I always kept on pursuing my dreams. I have had my own support system. I've had, my few friends. I've had my mother. I have my husband supporting me in whatever I do. But I think after 18 years now, I get the whole point. The reason why is because we don't have too many women in this sector. And in this 18 years, I think I've just seen very few female filmmakers or very few female writers, or we don't even have any female cinematographer or art director. We have very few. So basically it is a very male dominated place, and it just gets harder and tougher to survive and to tell your story. And I think things are changing slowly. I mean, thanks to the things are going really global as well at the moment. So from any part of the world now we can tell our stories, and there's platforms where they are encouraging us, women, to tell our stories, and things are improving. But yeah, I think we need more women, and not only women, as Lena Nair just said, it's also like transgender, female or male, we don't represent them at all, and I think there's a lot of lack of representations of women and other genders internationally or nationally as well. But we are getting there slowly, but we're getting there. And I just hope things change. And I think this year I was really happy to see one thing. That was on the 8th of March, on Women's Day. I saw a first Bangladeshi transgender woman to be a television news presenter, and I think it made a big noise. And it was really nice to see, that we are having more of our stories, and it's not just the same old thing that we always saw, where whether you see Hollywood action films or you see Bollywood masala films or whatever, it's the same thing going on, and it's always dominated by men. And overall, I think we have so much more to tell. And as I said, we need more women to come out there. And I think we need more families, like parents, to tell their kids, like, if you want to go out there, follow your dreams and do it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your insights, and very sorry to hear your loss, Sonia. Please stay strong, and thank you for your valuable insights. Moving on to
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Moving on to invite Dr. Pramod Kumar Rajput, sir. He's a senior vice president, vertical head, Cadila Pharmaceuticals Limited, India. Hello, sir. Good evening. Yeah. Sir, you've been a senior VP, vice president in a leading pharmaceutical company for a longer time. In your entire career, have you come across any particular incidents of gender bias? Does gender bias exist in India? And what measures can the corporate take to tackle them head on? What are your views?
Thank you so much, Priya ma'am, and giving me this great opportunity. Thank you very much, GMHA Nancy ma'am. And Anar madam has already put the entire context. With this very, very good evening, good morning, good afternoon to the entire people who are here as a panelist and as one of the speaker. And with a great respect to all the senior people here, like the way this was spoken about, that Preeti Bajaj madam is there, Dr. Saurav is there, Dr. Rajat sir is there, Menka Pathak madam has come, and I can see Queen madam, Her Highness is here, and so many good personalities are there. They are talking on such a wonderful platform, which is very, very important. And I was just noting down a couple of things. That's what I was saying. What Anar Mehta said about the 6 C's. So I fully resonate with the other things which is there. Followed by Shafak ma'am, which she is talking about the mental health, because EI is a very, very important part of the each and every person's life. It is not with the females, but it is for the males, it is for the students, it is for the children, it is for everybody, which is very, very important. Then followed by Sanjeev Verma sir, who has given us such a wonderful example about the entire things, that yes, right. So if you conclude the entire things, it always says that yes, gender biasness is there, let me tell you. But in the pharmaceutical industry, right, we have taken up this step one step ahead. We have a lot of the females working as a medical representative. Gone were the days when we are afraid about it, because now we feel that the females, they are very active, they are brave, they understand the thing, they maintain the line also. So we start encouraging them from the base level. Now, when it comes to the office part, there are certain things are there. We still feel there is a 5%, 7%, not only in the pharma industry, but in overall industry. When you take the entire scenario of India, when you take the ratio, it's just 9 to 10% where the females, they are working. And when it comes to the top level, it is just 0.3%. Like just now, Sanjeev sir has given example of Anar ma'am. Like Anar ma'am, she is very, very important person. Menka ma'am is very, very important person. But how many people are like on that particular scenario? Right? There can be many people who have a lot of strength, but why it has not been taken care? So I will take it positively towards the corporate segment side, which is my forte, which I'll talk to here in this thing. So what I feel that inclusive workplace model is very important, because evaluate your executive team, because it comes, anything comes from the upper side, it never comes from the lower side. So the executive team, does they portray the diversity and inclusion? If not, then we should ensure and we should impart that they should be doing it. Second thing is, which I always come in my mind, it is that acknowledging and honoring the multiple religious and cultural practice. Because if you acknowledge what Leena madam has said right now, that then there will be a complete blend will be there, togetherness, happiness will be there, and people will be respecting each other person. Third point I will add here, that foster a company culture where every voice is welcome. Somebody is telling about the things. So please listen carefully, hear and respect. Maybe you are not able to do it, but start working for that. And have an open dialogue about the gender pay inequality, which is again very important. Again, I will take the point from the Lina ma'am, which she has said very well. And again, the fourth point is, I just to add, welcome a multilingual workforce, because the multilingual workforce is going to again add lot of value in the entire team, entire culture, which is going to help in the diverse thinking, because people will be able to understand that what the other person thinks, and so that they will be able to grab the positive things in there. and build a multi-generational workforce. Why multi-generation? It is not that a 25 years person is going to work for 35 years. They are in the same place 25 years or the 55 years can work, because the 55 years will have the wisdom and 25 years have the technology. So the blend of both the things can make the things happen. And also they reflect everyone's need and preference at everyday gathering, because it is very important when we are talking again, Leena ma'am, and again for the Anar ma'am, what she was talking about it, that the emotional intelligence part, or sitting on the dining table, or sitting on the dining room talking about something, it is going to give lot of the preference and understanding the preference of the things, and which is going to strengthen the anti-discriminatory policies. So because then the respect will start coming up. So I personally feel that a personalized one-to-one discussions is very, very important to share for care and building up the inclusivity. And believe you me, this is one of the wonderful platform which has been created by GMHA. And if we start propagating it in a very positive way, right? If a 1% can propagate to 10% and 10% can further propagate to 10%, I think this thing is going to become a very big way. Because when I posted it on the LinkedIn, lot many people have written that's such a wonderful topic you guys are talking here. Such a wonderful topic and such a respected topic you are talking about it, because people, they just have the one-to-one thing, but they don't open it up. Today we are able to open the things in front of the entire world, and the eminent personalities had come who have faced all the things. It is not that we have the experience of 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, 50 years. We have seen the things. Either we are a male or either we are female. But with that, if we are able to put the thing properly, nicely, positively, I think we can make the change. And the change comes from our side only. We are the change maker. Nobody else is going to instigate us to become the change maker. So my request on this wonderful platform, the global platform, is that let us take it up, let us be the torch bearer, let us be the trailblazer and make the things happen. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. It's always a pleasure to listen to you and hear you out with diverse knowledge coming from a legend, I would say. Thank you so much for coming and accepting our invite. With this, we've come to an end of our round one. So here I hand it over to Mansi. Mansi ma'am, over to you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gayatri, and thank you to all the eminent speakers. Before we begin round two, since we have got the round one and round two speakers here right now, can I request everyone, all of our speakers, to turn on your videos and we can take a group picture, please. Gayatri, can I request you to spotlight all of our speakers together so that we can have a group picture, please? We'll just take 2 minutes here.
Mansi, at a time, I can take only these many. So let's take one and then add in.
Okay, no problem. We'll just do in the gallery view then. So that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Okay, everyone, ready? Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. We will begin with the round two now. Firstly, I would like to welcome in our round two, Dr. Rajat Sharma. Dr. Rajat ji, a very, very warm welcome to you. And we are so happy and pleased to have you here with us today. Dr. Rajat Sharma is the Global Chairman for Unity of Nations for Climate Change Council. Dr. Rajat, how do you think we can raise the bar of inclusion in our country? How is India as a community? Is it open-minded when we speak about diversity? And if not, what are the way we can improve things?
Right. Thank you very much, Mansi. And thank you, अनार मेहता जी, पीके राजपूत साहब इधर बैठे हैं, बहुत अच्छी उन्होंने बात करी. और संजीव वर्मा जी की तो मैं बड़ी तारीफ करता हूँ, हमेशा से बहुत ही लाउड रहते हैं. So about your question that today the India is a country of many languages and ethnicity, the role and understanding of diversity and inclusion at the workplace is complex. In last few years, both the government and private sector have taken conscious steps to promote diversity at work. For example, we can talk about financial market regulator like SEBI, as mandate that all listed companies should have at least one woman director on their board. This helps the number of women on company's board increase the 5% in 2012 to 13% in 2018. Another initiative like extending the maternity leave to 6 months, passing right of person with disabilities bill in the parliament, and promoting LGBT rights at offices are making diversity and inclusion an infallible concept. In India, the potential benefit of diversity and inclusion in business are completely positive when the influence of gender diversity is explored, both culturally and economically. However, the ILO, International Labour Organization, has warned that the pandemic will widen labor market inequalities. While women participation in formal work was 20%, their share fell below 20% in August, part of gradual decline due to the tightening economic situation created by the pandemic. Also, the important point, by not promoting women at the workplace, we experience huge economic loss. And industry report estimate that only a 10% increase in women participation can boost India's GDP by 770 billion by 2025. But it is not just about financial gain or just gender diversity. Organizations that are collaborating to create an enabling environment for everyone can explore their true potential through meaningful, positive, and measurable action. I think this is my way, and thank you for everyone. As another webinar is also calling, so thank you very much, everyone here. Thanks for your patience and valuable time. Thanks again, and bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rajat sir. Thank you for your valuable insights and for your time for being with us here today. Once again, thank you so much.
Welcome. Welcome.
Now, I would like to invite Dr. Amina Ali with us here today. She's the founder and lead advocate at Federation of International Gender and Human Rights. She's personally also a huge inspiration. A very warm welcome, Dr. Amina Ali, to our webinar today, to the roundtable discussion surrounding the topic, which is very close to your heart, I believe, as well. As an advocate for women's rights and health, what do you think are the hidden factors that cause and encourage crimes against women? And how can we as a society retaliate to encourage psychological and mental metamorphosis to make the world a safer place for women and children? We would love to hear your thoughts, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Manzi. It is so beautiful to see you. Oh my goodness, that smile, I tell you. Thank you so much for having me. I thank you again from the Federation of International Gender and Human Rights, who have been fighting for equality, sustainable living, and of course, human and gender rights for women and children across the world. So yes, this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And I think to answer it more generally, because I answered it based on India and of course the respects of India, but I think just across the world, it has to deal with cognitive dissonance, tribalism, and maybe a caste system and the effects of that. Cognitive dissonance is this knowing different, knowing better, still choosing to do things that are comfortable and traditional. Tribalism is the understanding that you give it almost like a confirmation bias, where you are using the fact that we are a tribe, this is what we do, as the reason and the validation, versus understanding the harm and the hurt that it does. And then the trickling down of the caste system, I know for to the most part in India and across the world, they're fading away, but the lingering effects of it, the things that still affect the pleasure when daughters want to please their father and they resort to the things that made their father comfortable, keeps that mindset going. So I think it happens in a few ways. There's 4 ways that I want to speak about very quickly here. And it will be inclusive of how we can both understand the problem and then solve it. The first one is equality. And this one is the way I term it is If we had barefoot people in the world, equality would be making sure that everyone had a shoe to wear. And this means that we go around and we assess what it is that the problem is and make sure everyone has a shoe, in this sense, has a solution that we would be able to manifest in our tribe, in our culture, in our creed, in our tradition. And then we're gonna break it down even further to a word called equity. Now, if we're talking about those same barefoot people, equality would be making sure that everyone has a shoe, but equity would be making sure that that shoe fit. So that means children would have solutions, adults would have solutions, men would have solutions, grown-ups would have bigger solutions, where children would have smaller solutions based on the size of the foot or the size of the knee. So equity in and of itself allows you to customize that help and that solution in understanding who is the one that is hurt the most. We believe in the Federation that the person that's closest to the problem is also closest to the solution, and we should use what it is that they are wanting to do to make sure that they have a customized solution for what it is that ails them and what hurts them. In this case, things that affect women and children. And number 3 is representation. We need to make sure that there are more women out here that are saying these things out loud, that are saying that we are doing this, and we're doing this because it's for the best of you. We need to make sure that men are supporting women. We have a panel coming up at the end of the month called Men for Women. And these are men that have girl children that realize that I'm not going to do this anymore. It may have worked for my father and my grandfather, but I have girl children and I'm not going to allow this to happen. They're not going to be treated subpar. They're not going to be thrown into a system where they have to defend themselves. They can't be educated. They can't be employed. They can't write their own book or tell their own story. And we're going to change the dynamic because we are men and we have that power. And the last one is sensitivity, understanding that this is going to be worldwide. I'm a very impatient social activist. I don't believe that my grandchildren should have to own this effect. I believe that it can happen in my lifetime and that I can be the leader by example for my children so they can see in their lifetime that this can work. So being impatient, I always put my best foot forward in doing it in real time. If we have a man that, like, for example, men come on my LinkedIn and they want to come in my inbox. And because they don't see a ring on my finger or I don't have pictures of a husband in the background, they automatically want to come in and say, oh, good evening, ma'am. You're very beautiful and you're very nice. And I love what you do. And can I come to New York and be with you? And I'm thinking, what on my forehead said that you can do that to me? What is it on my t-shirt that says that I gave you permission? Is there something that I said in one of my posts that allowed me to know that you are compatible for my husband? You know, what is it that made you believe that you can do this to me? So, of course, I give them my motherly advice and I let them know very surely that this is not going to be behavior that I'm going to expect, and I'm not going to allow you to do this. So sometimes I screenshot their replies and I send it out to let people know what they're doing. And sometimes I just politely let them know, look, you're not going to do this. And anyone that I know is not going to allow you to do this. So please don't even go into my friend's inbox and do this. So it is a universal message that we're sending across, that you're going to treat us with the respect we demand, that we command, and that human nature says that we are required to have. You're going to give me that social dignity that I stand for, and the disrespect that should not be for women. So I'm going to stand up not only for myself, but I'm going to stand up for Manzi, and I'm going to stand up for Preet, and I'm going to make sure that these men understand that this is not going to happen anymore. And if I see that happen, I'm going to speak up about that. So yeah, I've been asked to leave many tables because of that, but that's okay, because I brought a seat to another table, and we're going to affect change that way. So it will either directly or indirectly help you or hurt you. But either way, you're going to change that behavior. And I just think that that's going to be a plausible effect going forward for other women to see how we do it, and then building that esteem in them to make sure that it gets done in their neck of the woods.
Fantastic. I just want to give a round of applause because I think it is a huge inspiration, ma'am, and it is so, so required. I mean, you cannot stress enough on the fact that how much it is required. I mean, how many men do you think on this table even? I mean, if we put a question forward, a woman going and asking you that, you look very beautiful and, can I have a cup of coffee with you? It does not happen that much out there in the world. This is the reason why we need to have these conversations. When I brought these conversations on the table, I get asked that question that, ma'am, you wouldn't believe it. There have been people who have been telling me that, why do we need women empowerment? And I feel the need to scream out loud and say that, why do we need to have these conversations? This is the exact reason why. You have explained it so beautifully. Very, very proud of you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for gracing us here today. We will move on now. And Tamanna, I would request you to take this forward with Dr. Saurabh Jain, our next guest for the day, please.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Dr. Saurabh Jain is the chairman. He's here.
Yes, he's here.
Dr. Saurabh Jain is the chairman and CEO Resource Foundation of India and GMHA. He is a national president of Academic Research Guide Association. He's the vice president of World Federation of Science and Technology India, and he's the chairman of World Virtual Conference Forum. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Sir, you are a leading education of the country. What role can education play in combating gender bias, and how can we raise awareness at a grassroots level?
First of all, I would like to thanks and congratulations to team GMHA. A special thanks to Mansi Dholakia and all representatives. As we know very well, this webinar is going to be organized by GMHA and for gender inclusion and diversity. First of all, I would like to thanks and congratulations to all the speakers who's presenting their thoughts in different issues. As Dr. Rajput is discussing about over here, this is the topic chosen by GMHA. So I think that there is a same thoughts creating in my mind. That is the nice topic, whatever chosen by GMHA. So as whatever we have required to discuss over there about what role of education. So first, as we know very well, gender inequality, we have required different things. First is gender roles, gender equality through education curriculum, what national policy on education we can adapt, gender scenario in school education, what we can change, and women special educational and occupational choice. As we know very well, discussion on an aim of sensitizing everyone on an important concern relating to gender inequality. Analyze the international convention and constitutional mandate along with statutory mechanism to take the discrimination based on sex in the most significant matter on that education. It also touches social, economic aspect of gender inequality. Educators should foster in student inequality, promote and strengthen the constitutional culture and equality. Next thing, whatever we are going to be discuss about what thing we can adopt, it must be first related to gender role. We observe many different boys and girls in the family. They sit inside the classroom in the playfield. For instance, in gender, boys are active, playful, confident, bold, loud, and difficult to control. If we're talking about girls are passive, gentle, quiet, accepting, more complex, and easy to control. If that is the instance of different persons, it is important to those who are in education sector to appropriate how infant and toddlers learn to see themselves as girls and boys in the adult image of women and men. in their cultures. So it is equality important to understand how this process of sex role identify information based on differential and discriminatory treatment, which leads to the information of low self-concept in girl. If we talking about in different scenario, there are some general perception regarding gender role. One, we not only observe the difference among girls and boys and also believe that these are natural and inherent into sexes. We come to the conclusion that they are biological and hence unchangeable. If we're talking about in human civilization, in present day, human civilization both demands and creative new possibilities for the social role of the two sexes are complementary and equal globally. Now it is beyond doubt that women have proved to be equal competent in all over the world. As we know very well, women, we cannot say for particular gender. Everyone, what means a person is thinking about whatever they have required to be done over there, definitely they can do. There's no difference between women and men. Next thing, gender inequality through education curriculum. It is important to deal with the concern that even though India has a clear policy on undifferentiated curricula for the both sexes for education, wise and stereotype free through the learning materials as well as through those who handle them. One should spell out the concern that are to be addressed by the teacher and administrator for assimilating sex wising in an endeavor to promote gender equality and positive self-concept through curriculum and life skill approaches. It should be brought home to everyone through curriculum that biological and social gender are separable concept from a development point of view. Next thing, whatever we have required to be discussed over there, as my title is related to education one. So national education policy on like NP as a government of India, NP has launched to 2020. The NP emphasized the core values such as equality between sexes, ending social evils and practices, derogatory to women, small family norms, etc. The NP and program of action highlight the need to prove the social, nutritional, and health status of the girl, also support strength as in drinking water, fodder, fuels, early childhood care, and education. That is known as ECCC as an integral component of university elementary education as norms. Some suggestions for the gender sensitivity curriculum transaction may be given. One, effective picture and status should shown to the children that a woman is not merely a mother, but she can be a teacher, a doctor, a professor, an engineer, etc. It should be included in the textbook and reading material to depict men and women in shared role. Third, one can display the talent of women. Fourth, one can counter prejudicial references in textbook if noticed. The textbook are to be made free of gender bias and sex stereotype. A gender sensitive like skill approaches to curriculum transaction include all the skill necessities for a day-to-day functioning and cover areas such as family life, education, legal literacy, and life-saving skills and other approaches. Whatever can be done. If we're talking about gender scenario in the school education, if we're talking about India, actually, as you know very well, I belong to India. India has started the second largest education system in world after China, with a total enrollment is near about 191.63 million, out of whom 80.54 million, near about 40% are girls, according to MHRD 2010. Due to strong gender focus of government initiative during the 90s, as also pro-girl child, pro-woman policies and programs during the decade, girl education has progressed and gender gaps have narrowed. If we're talking about women educational and occupational choice, it is also the part of this educational system. It was suggested that although exception for success and personal efficiency depict occupational choice, they are not the only predictors. A survey suggested that positive expectations are necessary but not sufficient predictor of the occupational choice, believing that one can succeed at an occupation is too critical. One decision to entire the occupational fields. At the last questions provided by you, what thing we can implement, what thing we can raise for the educational system. So according to my opinion, educator should know about self-concept and self-esteem. Self-concept is how an individual view oneself. It is an individual feelings and attitudes, perception and knowledge about one's own attitude. Self-concept could be negative or inadequate or positive and adequate. Self-esteem is dynamic accept of self-concept through which an individual constantly evaluates oneself in relation to society, the amounts of value we ascribe to ourselves. So according to my opinion, what thing we can adopt in education system. So thank you very much to Mansi to organizing such a wonderful events on this particular webinar topic. So thank you, and special thanks to all the speakers from Research Foundation of India, from AGRA, and from WFST. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we have Dr. Preeti Bajaj. She is an Honorable Vice Chancellor of Golgotha University. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Tamanna.
So, since you are in the education industry for the last 30 years and working in a senior leadership role, what kind of challenge you have faced as an individual and as a team manager with the context to diversity issues, and how did you manage to overcome them?
So thank you so much, Tamanna. So Mansi, thank you so much to make me, part of this esteemed panel and with esteemed panelists as well. I don't find myself to be, in fact, suitable for at this forum. And this is totally different, although I'm doing the same thing. I'm fighting at every front every day and probably last 30 years. But still I found to be, I have not prepared any script. I just thought of to share some of my experiences over here. And it was wonderful to listen to all wonderful speakers. That has given me insight, how individual, and we could see the diversity here itself in everybody's thoughts, in everybody's, how they were dealing in their situation, whether it was family or the, office as well. So, and then for me, when we talk about diversity and inclusivity, so I have led one small committee, and so I'm an active volunteer of IEEE, which is Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers USA. So that's an international technical topmost body. Being the active volunteer for last 20 plus years, I was heading one committee for instituting awards on, diversity and inclusivity. So when it goes to continent wise, although we talked about that should not be discussed at this forum, but it comes when you have everything. When you have when you are leading a decent life, then probably these words are, and then you talk about this rights as well. But when within India, if I talk about this issue, so it gives me insight into many occasions wherein this has been totally, or you can talk about this topic on forums, but actually it is being neglected on day basis. If I give you some example, so the basic example would start with, a typical culture in the family wherein it's being said, you have you are talking to your daughter and son, and then if you praise your daughter, so it's but natural in a typical family in the it's a part of society. Oh, you are not my beti, you are beta. It starts with there, and the daughter gets, she becomes so happy that, oh, I have been given equal status like beta. But then that difference starts over there, because you are not being treated as in beti, but you have been compared with your siblings. So it's typical culture which is in India, wherein it leads with if the couple is working in the same organization, so only one can be on the top position, and the second would be only to run the family income. That's been so. But still, in spite of having all these odds, in spite of having all these diversity, we love this culture. We have been born and brought up. What is required is, yes, little awareness about the rights, about awareness about that. When it is being asked to me that how I have dealt individual or the team wherein in my 30 years of experience, so I would say it's been my recent experience with this new job assignment was when I joined, and I just asked them. I saw many women, faculty members were not at top position, probably not at leading position. And then I just took workshop. Of all top, almost 100 female faculty members. And I just asked them, why you are not coming forward? It is not that, because throughout my life I have worked with, wherein I fought for myself, I fought for my faculty members, I fought for why, and I took them to a level as well. So I just asked, why you are not at decision making positions? You can do that with so much of experience. And then from there I started with, and then I have right now a team of, I would say it's only women leaders, because I have been working in an environment wherein I have, but then fair representation, and they are delivering wonderfully. So I believe it's when we talk about diversity and inclusivity, but by birth we have been given that power of multitasker leadership. We have to lead our family. So that leadership quality is inborn. We have seen since our childhood, our mother doing all the work and how she is leading the family. So that multitasking, leadership, time management, few skills are inherent in everyone. If I talk about only in particular in diversity and inclusivity, only about women. So then these qualities are always there. What you require is, yes, some confidence level, the emotional quotient, one of the speaker talked about, yes, that creates sometimes hurdle in the professional front if we don't have that balance. But then probably over the period of years, in when you grow in your field, then automatically you overcome that. So I would deal that with educated and qualified. So over the period of years, so probably initially, you may be qualified, but then it takes time. Similarly, for having control on your emotions and emotional quotient, it takes time. And by birth, probably we are very, very emotional. So that would affect your maybe a profession to some extent, but then you can always control. I will just like to share 2 points as well. I was selected for first batch of women army in 1994. I still remember the 2 girls were selected, and one was lawyer, and then I was from engineering background. I did not join that. But at every segment, I believe you will not be treated wrongly if you will not allow, at least for the I would say in tier 2 or tier 1 and tier 2 cities, you have to decide to what extent you can be, you can sustain, you can and then second, I just have came across one wonderful word. It's well left. So to what extent, it's not so it is, many times bouncers will come, many times, like I'm single lady. So initially it used to be, why I'm a tough taskmaster, and people know me about that. Yes, I'm a tough taskmaster, and then problem would start from there. So a woman boss, tough taskmaster, and then so that will come to your personal, then people will leave, oh, she's a single, so then that's what then she is dictating. So but then you let it go. My approach would be, my guidance would be, and I have been surrounded by such a strong support by all, I would say, my male friends and the female friends, colleagues, my bosses. They have been always very, very supportive, and that's what I'm here. And professional colleagues as well, the community. But I would say sometimes you will find all kind of elements in the society, and if the such bouncers would come, just how well left. Sometimes you have to ignore which will affect your work. And that's what my policy, and that would be my advice, that don't let yourself to be carried away with the such bouncers which will affect your work. And with that policy, probably you will you can lead. I would say what you need not to do, so that you can have a balance between, you can follow the culture, diversified culture. And so I would say gender bias, so gender, religion, violence, some words, 5 words I have just I would say. So unequality. So unequality, a prejudiced mind. Many a times I have not taken interview. I have not taken, but just because probably she came from a background, or her dressing sense, or the language, or probably the communication skill. So without knowing the knowledge, probably without knowing how she would deliver, I would be having, a mindset, no, she cannot be fit. So I would say, no, please give opportunity to everyone. Probably she will be the best worker for your organization. So we need to understand that these principles that don't go with gender, don't go with religion, don't go with, although everybody is talking about soft skills, probably I will be, odd at over here, but then still I would say, I'm handling again one project on reaching local for Asia Pacific. So wherein we are encouraging, local languages, regional languages, and then how the lectures can be available in all multi languages, and how the events could be in bilanguage, that I'm promoting. So and then so out of 5 I talked about 4. So gender, religion, violence, and inequality. So in a inequality in any of the things, like you came from a particular background and you expect those things, and then those are not there, maybe in dressing sense, communication, or something. And the last one is politics. So forget about these 5 things, and then you will focus upon strength, you focus upon delivery, you focus upon value system, and you will find, you focus upon the potential and judge the candidate, and I'm sure you will be getting wonderful colleagues and wonderful employees. I'm always a team leader, and I have led the team, and I believe that it's very easy. Yes, initially at family also you have differences, but then you come together when it at moments you are together. So similarly, I believe that initial phase when you enter into any corporate or you have a new appointment, there would be difference of opinion, and that you need to accept. But thereafter, it's a teamwork which will give you success, and that's what I have been working throughout my life, and it was wonderful. And I would say I'm not a feminine, I'm not fighting at those front, but yes, if it comes to, you need to have at times, if it comes to your performance, at times if it comes to your potential, or it comes to your team, fight back, and I'm sure the world is going to be yours. So believe in yourself will be my message to everyone. And then coming back to diversity and inclusivity, if I see everybody has spoken so high, but I would say while working, please look at only work. So don't look at any of these issues, and probably the world is going to be beautiful, and you will find diversity and inclusivity all around. Respect that, and that would be the success key of success for your organization. That's it, Mansi. Once again, thank you so much for making me to be part of. I don't know whether it was worth listening or not, but I just shared few points by heart. So thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would hand over to Mansi, ma'am. Thank you, Mansi.
Thank you. Thank you, Tamanna. Thank you, Preeti ma'am. I don't think there was a word in there which was out of context. So we feel proud and privileged to have you here with us. Thank you so much. Now I would like to invite Her Royal Highness Queen Aminata Koita. She's the Fulbe Queen of Ashanti region of Ghana. She's the Ambassador, Federation of International Gender and Human Rights. Dearest Queen, we are so proud and happy to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for sparing the time. Guys, it is 4:30 a.m. for her, and she's here with us. So imagine that. Imagine the commitment. Just so proud.
Thank you.
I'm just going to spotlight you. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
And there we are. Yes.
Thank you.
Hello. Very, very good morning to you. And thank you so much for patiently being with us here and listening to the entire round panel. I hope, it was worth listening to and you had a good time. I'm going to come to your question. Being an advisory member of several international organizations and having enriched experience with the diversified population in the field of gender and human rights protection, what are your thoughts on how diversity and inclusion favors human rights and vice versa? We would love to hear your thoughts, please.
Thank you so much, Mansi. And thank you so much to Mansi and GMHA for honoring me with the pleasure of being here today. I'm very humbled to be sitting amongst such great people today. Thank you guys so much. I've learned so much on this panel this morning. Let me start by saying, I usually like to start off by letting people know that human rights are yours by birth. We've always had them, but in 1948, the world acknowledged them. And that was a wonderful, wonderful thing. And so if you don't know what your 30 human rights are, there are 30 of them that have been acknowledged by the United Nations. If you don't know what those are, it's a simple computer search. You can download a free copy just so you know what those are. So let me touch on inclusion and diversity. So what is inclusion? A lot of people think that inclusion is welcoming everybody to the table, right? Everybody has a seat at the table. I would like to take that a step further. Inclusion is not just having everybody at the table, it's valuing and respecting everybody's opinion at the table. Everybody has a voice. Everybody's voice deserves to be heard, and everybody's voice is just as important as everybody else's at the table. And I say that because in my line of work, I have traveled to many different countries. I sit at many different board tables all around the world, and I'm at a lot of tables. And I can tell you that I am not always heard at those tables, even though I'm there. So am I truly included? The answer is no. I'm sitting there because they can check off a box saying that I had a Black female at the table. That does not mean that I'm included. I have to claw my way, so to speak, to even be able to speak at that table. So I would encourage everybody here to take it a step further in your inclusion and make sure that everybody that's at that table is heard. Not just given the opportunity to say something, but they're actually heard, respected, and valued as a member of the person at the table and the opinion that they represent. Because just because their opinion may be different from yours does not make it wrong, okay? It still should be valued. That's number one. Number two, diversity. A lot of people, the same thing with inclusion, think that diversity means everybody at the table maybe looks different. And that's not really what diversity is either. Simply because we can all look different, but have been raised under the same faith or under the same economic conditions or social status. And so we think very similar. So that means we don't necessarily have a diverse opinion at the table. So like with inclusion, we have to work hard at making sure that everything in our circle is actually diverse and inclusive, right? Now, how does that relate to human rights? It relates to human rights because it's easy to ignore what's going on around you if you don't relate to the people that it's happening to. So, and I say that because if you don't know anything, if the only thing you know about a person of color is what you see on TV or in the movies, you have a warped sense of reality. Because what you see in the media is distorted beyond measure. It's full of stereotypes and it's lies. It's lies. So how can I have compassion when I see somebody being mistreated if I don't even see that person as being human? If I see that person as being animalistic or uncivilized or uneducated, not worthy of life, not worthy of having a quality of life, then I'm not going to care, right? So we have to take extra care to step outside of our comfort zone, step outside of that what we've been raised in and used to, and get to know people from all over the world, from all different faith backgrounds, from all different socioeconomic classes, from all different ethnicities, from different countries, so that when we see something that's not right, we can identify with it and say, hey, let me share this story with you. In the United States, we have so many racial issues going on here. It's all over the global news, right? And I had to share with some friends of mine because they couldn't put into perspective. They thought people are making this up. It's just being made up. You guys are, over exaggerating the situation. So I asked them a simple question. I said to them, you know me as a friend. What if the hashtag was #Aminata? What if that was the hashtag? That made them have a different perspective on it because now they can put a personal touch on what they're seeing. It made it personal. It made it personal. That's why it's very important for inclusion and diversity to be an active thing in each and every one of our lives. We have to be intentional about it. It doesn't just happen by happenstance. It's not an accident. You have to be intentional and go out and seek it and make it happen. It has to be made into a reality. And it's going to take all of us making a conscious effort to do that in order for it to change, right? Our human rights, like I said earlier, are ours by birth. They cannot be taken away from you ever by anybody. They cannot. But they are often taken away or they're devalued because, number one, people don't even know they have them. And number two, good people are silent when they see it being taken away from others. You cannot be silent. It's scary to stand up. But let me just remind you that the whole Me Too movement started because one person said, I'm not taking this anymore. And they stood up. And then when other people saw that, it emboldened them to do the same and join it. So I want to encourage everybody that's listening to this call today to embrace your inner boldness. Even though it's scary, step outside of your comfort zone. Speak up when you see something that's not right. Speak up. Come to the defense of those who are who feel that they don't have a voice and that they can't say something. Be intentional about getting to know people that are not like you. Be intentional about being inclusive and what that word really means and valuing what people say and how people think. Be intentional about the diversity in your life. Surround yourself with people who are not like you, who don't think like you, who don't look like you, who don't believe the same things that you believe, so that you can have a better world view on different issues. And so that's pretty much what I wanted to say today. So in closing, I want to give everybody that challenge to please, let's live intentionally. let's be intentional about doing what's right for the right reason, and then just let the chips fall where they may, because being right is never wrong. That's what I have to say to everybody today. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm very honored and pleased to be here. I hope that I encourage somebody to at least take that little step, because it's just one step at a time. Take a little step of faith. And as you start doing that, your courage will grow. And the next thing you know, you're going to be a champion for human rights, inclusion, and diversity. And I'm going to be right there, your #1 cheerleader, celebrating with you, encouraging you, standing next to you, holding you up when you need it, because that's what we do. We support each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Royal Highness. Your words are empowering, encouraging. I think the community really needs people like yourselves and people like all the beautiful women and men on this panel today who have encouraged such discussions. We need to have more such conversations just in order to bring that awareness. And very rightly, so many beautiful things said by you here today. Thank you so much for agreeing to come here, and thank you for gracing us with your presence. We are very proud and privileged. Thank you once again. And now I move on to our final speaker of the day. To finish our roundtable, we have Dr. Purnima Voria. She is the founder and CEO, National US India Chamber of Commerce, recipient of SDG 16 Award at United Nations. Dr. Purnima, we are very proud to have you here today with us.
Thank you very much.
I'm just going to add a spotlight on you. There we go. Yes. Welcome, very warm welcome to the panel here, and so many beautiful women here today and men with us. Dr. Purnima, I'm going to begin with a question for you. Having worked in a wide-scale industry like commerce, business, and bilateral trade, you have represented India internationally on multiple platforms. How would you say has the exposure to various cultures and people added value to your personality? And what is the one unconventional concept you would like India to imbibe for the better?
Namaste and good morning to everyone from United States and all the time zones across the world that have taken time to listen to all of us. What a pleasure and privilege to be with all of you. First of all, I would like to say that I want to thank GMHA for this excellent, important event. I am proud of them for putting this together. It is a much needed and it is the need of the hour today. I have spoken at various companies on various topics, ranging from international trade to globalization, but I have a special passion for what we are talking about today. And I do ask myself this question often, will the glass ceiling ever be shattered? And I'm relating to women when I say this. And to me, I say, of course, we women are the pivot of the family, not only the family, the companies, the organizations, and everything. So when you're talking about my experiences globally, I am very fortunate. It started out early for me when I was on the advisory council of the governors, the mayors, which was the Asian Advisory Council, being a voice for the Asian communities here. No, not so much related to just women only, but in general. We have 200,000 Asians in the state of Colorado, but did not have a voice. And just like Her Highness just mentioned, I wanted to reiterate everything she said. It is so very real what she brought to the table today and identified. And so therefore my putting myself in that really helped me, because before I was very much Indian cuisine and everything. But when I got on this, every time I went to an event for Korean community with 40,000 people or Chinese community with 60,000 people, it was an exposure. In the beginning, it was hard to try even their little cuisines was very hard, but you get used to it. You take a little bite at a time. I think life also does the same thing. The little experiences that I had in the Asian community with Asian countries really helped me nationally to talk about more about diversity events at the White House or other related events. Then I went on the world stage where I was speaking in World Economic Forum in Davos, where you're seeing the prime ministers and presidents of the country walking on the streets when it was like, I almost like stopped uh, Premier of Pakistan. And I said, hello, Imran, how are you? I would have never done that. But it's the opportunities we get. And when the world leaders are walking on the streets, it's amazing to see. The World Economic Forum was probably the best experience I could have, where I'm looking at, okay, these people are just like one of us. So we are all prime ministers and presidents of our life, is what I want to tell you. And those experiences, whether it was speaking at the World Economic Summit, World Business Summit in South Korea, wonderful experience in front of 15,000 people. Even our Prime Minister of India, Gauda, Sri Gauda ji, was there as well as a speaker. Neil Bush, President Bush's brother, was also a speaker with me. So what happens is it enhances your courage. You become bold. And those opportunities need to be provided to many women, not just me. We all, as I said, are leaders in our own way. It's the lack of opportunities we have received. But coming to your question of experiences that I had in many countries, whether it's working as an ambassador for peace, working for North Korea and South Korea peace, when I was standing at the DMZ zone and looking at the guns pointed at you, boy, that was scary. I mean, we are just listening in the news. And when I was there, I realized this is very real. This is not a joke. So I got involved as an ambassador for peace with 371 world leaders, President of Guyana, President of Russia, Prime Minister of Nepal, and so forth. You can imagine this was an humbling experience for me. Why I say that? Because I truly had airs in the up in my head that I'm a leader just because I did several things in life. But what that experience gave you is a little humility. When you see 371 leaders working on Israel and Palestine peace, or North Korea and South Korea, which is a very serious thing, from economic security point of view, uh, from world security point of view, uh, this is this is very serious when you're talking to the world, not just for business, but other things. So it expands your horizon. I think it was a very big growth for me to be able to sit with these world leaders and really understand the issues of the world. So when you are talking about diversity and women, I think these are very small things, but very, very important. Human rights of a woman is very important. And Her Highness said very well that, it's a birthright. The rest of it is a privilege. So we must speak and be our own leaders, whether it's at home or corporate office or anywhere else. The world experiences really became a very good learning lessons to me. And being at United Nations for the SDG 16 award, which is award for peace and strong institutions. I started a project, and because of that, I received that, and that project is for world peace. So all these experiences that we get, many of the Indian women have not stepped out of India. That is a lack of, experience for them that they should receive. Like many of us, Mansi says she was in UK for many, many years. And, I have been in United States for 45 years in the corporate world for, in various industries, and started the National US-India Chamber of Commerce because I felt there was a need to improve the Indo-US relations and bilateral trade and investment opportunities. So to women, I would say that, tremendous efforts to shape the world with more equal future, especially after recovery post-COVID. It's very important for us to take our place and and mark that spot and invite men to the table, because we have to invite people that are cause of our problems, right? So no offense to men, but I'm being very honest by saying that you men come to the table with us and understand us, understand our physical needs, when we talk about delivering babies today in United States, we are talking a lot about, um, you know, when you have a miscarriage. So miscarriage vacation, so to speak, or time off. These are very hard issues that women need to talk about, whether it's periods, whether it's having babies. We need to stand up for our rights because a miscarriage is as good as delivering a child. It's very important that men understand the physical and emotional changes a woman goes through in all this. But saying that, I would also say that women full and effective participation and decision making in public life, as well as the elimination of the violence and achieving gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls need to happen, and it is our place to make it happen. And another thing I want to also bring to attention is, as the Queen said, women make up 57% of the workforce, and yet women only comprises of 30% of all the US computing technology related positions. But when women have a seat at the table and are an active part of a discussion, business experience, radical innovation is going to happen. Inequality in workplace is still widespread practice. What it comes to women and on women of color, it affects their ability to access what is available to them. So I would say I was very fortunate from local experiences going global. I really feel that I understood the world better, the opportunities better, and I also found responsibility within myself that I need to do more. And that is the reason I got involved in the world stage. I feel commerce is all pretty much same between Asian countries because most of the countries we build commerce on relationship, and we women are very good. We are nurturers. We love talking to people. We love relating to people, whether it's men or women. But because we are nurturers, we are on the table already, so we just have to mark that place where we want to be on that table. I think India's Niti Aayog can really play a big part, at least in one country, I can say that. It's important Niti Aayog to form an center of innovation, which is led by us women and which talks about policy changes, because without those policy changes and other things, you cannot make a difference in at least in this arena. So I can go on, and please do stop me if I'm taking too much time.
No, ma'am.
But
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think all of your insights have been truly wonderful. And like you said, I think diverse experiences are also need of the hour to share those diverse experiences. So when you speak about women, I mean, women from around the world need to come together to make such conversations happen and to speak on diversity and inclusion where, because I think it's different in different parts of the world, but then it's a very common problem as well. So we have a common stage where, women face different problems in different ways. But at the center, I think we all need such awareness and such more conversations to happen to bring this to the table. So thank you so much for being a part of this roundtable discussion today and ending it on such a great note. Thank you, ma'am. Gayatri Chadwa, I invite you for a vote of thanks now, please.
Thank you so much, Mansi. Uh, what a lovely, insightful discussion it was. I am truly inspired by all the insights and views shared here. A few personal takeaways for me would be like, gender isn't the test for capability. Every gender is equally able to achieve success and be the leader in the society. Mental health needs to be normalized as much as any other physical issues. We as a society need to work on building the inclusion in all aspects of our life, not just the workspace, but even in family environment where it will lead to build a better society. Being self-aware and respecting and believing in own self is the key to make sure that the acceptance is there in the society. Education can play a very important role, and it is needed to develop the future society. And last but not the least, instead of being just present and being inclusive and inviting diverse people to the table, make sure that every voice needs to be heard. With that, I would like to thank all our esteemed dignitaries, Her Royal Highness Queen Aminata Koita, Her Excellency Dr. Amina Ali, Ms. Anar Mehta, Dr. Saurabh Jain, Dr. Rajat Sharma, Dr. Pramod Kumar Rajput, Ms. Sonia Hussain, Ms. Shafaq Ibrahim, Ms. Leena Nair, Mr. Sanjeev Verma, Dr. Purnima Voria, and Dr. Preeti Bajaj for taking their time out and being here to share their views on gender inclusion and diversity. Thank you all the esteemed panelists to be here. I would also like to thank Dr. Babita Ji Kataria and Manika Pathak Ji for joining us today. A big thank you to our CEO, Ms. Mansi Dholakia, for organizing the event on such an important and needed topic. Thank you so much, Mansi. And thank you to all our moderators, Ms. Priya Sitaraman and Ms. Tamanna Rajpal, and the entire team of GMHA to be supportive to make this event possible. And last but not the least, thank you to Prem for being the back-end technical support as always. With that, here's to hoping that we all start being more human and being more kind to everyone around us. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you, everybody. We will be sharing the recording and some pictures later on, but such an empowering discussion. And thank you all once again for being a part of this. Have a lovely evening. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.
Ashe.
Thank you, Mansi. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, Mansi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mansi ji.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you all, Anar Mehta ji, all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mansi, and what a wonderful job you have done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Also to all my friends that I see, Anar and everyone else. What a pleasure to be among friends and yet making a difference in this world. I just wanted to also share that our book is coming out, Falling in Love with India, on 26th on Amazon. And I've shared my life story on it just for people to know exactly what Her Highness was saying, that be brave to tell your story, because you never know who you are helping in doing so. So
fantastic, ma'am.
I'm being a voice for others, and many women have gone through what I've gone through. So thank you again. This was a great
opportunity.
Thank you very much, Purnima ji, for sharing your story. It was quite inspiring, and we can visualize with your eyes and your experiences all across the world. So thank you very much, Purnima ji.
Thank you. Very kind of you.